Brothers and sisters, just making a little pilgrimage out to one of my favorite places here in Rome at the we have Saint Benedict there inviting us into silence. Tre Fontane. So the little sisters of Jesus are here along with the site of where St. Paul was martyred, and it's a real place of refuge of prayer. It's a real sanctuary of peace, and so one of just some ideas coming today really from the gospel. We have these 10 lepers who are riddled with leprosy, which is a deep symbol also on the level of sin. How sin is something that eats us away, eats away who we are, makes less of us present in the world, because we are not sin in the sense who we are made to be is not sin. Sin, when we sin, that's not our truest self. Our true self is in God, our true self is in Christ. And so the image of God remains in us even when we sin or from the fall, the ability to think, the ability to love. We have this capax Dei, which is a famous term saying that we have an ability for God. And that's what we have, this image in us that makes us that we can know and love God. God created us in such a way to be able to one day receive Him in knowledge and in love in all eternity. But the likeness, so we're made in God's image and likeness, but the likeness part has been affected, has been destroyed by sin in the fall. And so while the image remains, for example, in Adam and Eve, the likeness was destroyed. So Christ came to restore us in our likeness to Him and to God, but also so that the image could be fulfilled. So what do I mean? That this ability in us to know and love God in us all, this has been given the great, by grace. It elevates our knowledge and our will. It elevates our knowledge to know God, elevates our will to love God supernaturally. So grace elevates our ability to know and love God in eternity, to come and know God as God knows and loves Himself. And so this is a tremendous, this is a gift of Christ. This is a gift of salvation. But Christ also wants to restore us in likeness to make us more and more like Himself. And so as we grow in holiness, not only does the image be fulfilled, but our likeness to Christ, our likeness to God is being restored. And so this gospel today about the lepers, they stand before the very presence and power of Christ and salvation. And so the leprosy is like a symbol of sin eating them away. But Christ can restore them fully to the best versions of themselves. And so, often when I go in front of the Eucharist, or the presence of God, whether it's in my room or wherever I am, I put myself in that presence of that power to save, which is the power of God. And I say, Lord, look, I'm a leper in your presence. I have so many things, Lord, that I need healing from. But I know from the gospel, I know you want to save, you want to heal, you want to deliver. And yes, sometimes we may not get that physical illness being healed, but we will always get the grace to be healed of sin, away from sin. And when we go to confession, when we turn to Him for grace, to ask Him for grace to overcome whatever vices we're struggling with, He will. In this scene with the leprosy, we see the power that is communicated to us in the silence. So what is outwardly manifest in a gospel scene like today is inwardly experienced silently when we come to God in prayer, when we turn to the sacraments. And so just to see the gospel scene as maybe just to imagine oneself with the leprosy of whatever one is experiencing, put yourself in the presence of God and know He has that power to heal, deliver, and restore us to the likeness of God, and to really help that image of God in us, the ability to know and love God, come to its greatest fulfillment.